Okay, this is a fascinating one for me. I have a question. The question itself is fascinating. I guarantee it. I am a guitar teacher. I've just recently decided to produce a channel um, for guitar tuition. So this is nothing to do with that. There's no clickbait, whatever you call it, trying to just get you to hang on because of something that interesting that's not going to be interesting. This is a fascinating question. It is a fascinating question if you're an entomologist or if you're in the slightest bit interested in insects. But it's also interesting because of the question itself. It's kind of interesting because of what it might tell me about the nature of social media, such as YouTube, for getting such questions answered. I should point out that I was a module leader for research as in my capacity as a music lecturer for UCS. So research is fascinating anyway. But this is a genuine question. It's quite fascinating. It's about behaviour. It's about altruism. It's about insects. It's about photography. I'm a guitar teacher, but I also did academic philosophy. So I'm interested in altruism. I'd written about altruism. There's such thing as altruism. I'd also actually, at the time that this question came about, I'd read again The Selfish Gene by Richard Dawkins, which mentions altruism and mentions bees. This is about bees. Kind of, might be about bees. And so yeah, whatever. But also, I'm also been in photography. And so, right, here we go. I would start again, but if I decide to start again, I'll start again about 700 times, and I'll never get the question out because it's a pretty pointless video. Other than I want to get this question answered. About 8 years ago, I was at Pensthorpe Park in Norfolk, which is a great wildlife park. It's great for wildlife photography. I've taken lots of spectacular and award-winning pictures of birds. They would be award-winning if anyone had seen them, but they're great pictures. And I was waiting by the entrance, and by the entrance they had a little floral thing, and I was watching bees gathering nectar, and I had a macro lens on my camera, so I decided to take pictures of these bees. Fast camera shutter. However many frames it was then, 7 frames per second or something like that. So I'm taking lots of pictures of bees. Nothing particularly unusual about that. I did that a lot. But on this particular occasion, I noticed one piece of behaviour. There was one bee going about its business, and there was another bee above it mobbing it. Now that was interesting to me because about having just read about altruism. The Selfish Gene, probably second most important book as far as I'm concerned in terms of telling us about human behaviour, second only to On Origin of Species by Darwin. So in my mind I'm thinking, well, that's quite interesting. If these bees are from I can't remember exactly what I was thinking, but I'm assuming I was thinking something like this. If these bees are from the same hive, why is there competition between them? Surely they share the same genes. I think Dawkins had actually used bees as an example of altruistic behaviour. I can't really remember, but that doesn't make sense because they do share the same genes, so that's not really altruism. They're just helping the hive, so they're helping themselves. Of course, they might not have been from the same hive, but this one bee was attacking this other bee. Didn't think any more of that until I got back and processed the photographs, and I had this one photograph which was actually quite fascinating and instantly did tell me something about that behaviour. Piece of desiccated coconut in my mouth. Because it seemed that then there seemed to be an explanation of the mobbing, because in this cue picture, or maybe in a minute, you could clearly see that on the bee that was being mobbed, on the wing of that bee was another insect. You would never have been able to see that in real time. The bees are moving pretty quickly, and my eyesight's not that good. You wouldn't have been able to see it. There's a tiny insect on the wing of this other insect. Taking pictures, you wouldn't have noticed. But I had noticed the behaviour. I had noticed this mobbing behaviour. Now, of course, the photograph then conjures up a new aspect to this drama. Well, it kind of makes sense. This bee up here is trying to get the insect off the wing down there. Now that would seem to be altruistic, other than the hive explanation. What's good for one bee is good for the other bee kind of thing. So not really altruism, so forget that. Yeah, so if the picture's not already up, the picture should be up now. And can you identify the insects involved in this? I actually don't think they're bees. Now, when I got back, I thought actually they're not bees. They were hoverflies, one of these insects that pretend to be bees. Not deliberately, obviously, that's origin of species. But they have come to look like bees, or they just look like bees. But they're not bees. They were not bees. So there might be a bee, might not be a bee, but I don't think it was a bee. Thinking back, I think they were just like hoverfly things. Which is even more fascinating. Why would this hoverfly want to be helping this hoverfly? So there's the two aspects. There's the what are these insects? Can you identify them? The actual bee-like insects and the little insect on the wing of the other insect. And two, are you familiar with this behaviour? Does this little insect reside on other insects, or was it just accidentally going about its business that day, found itself on the wing of a bee, didn't know it was going to be photographed and endure YouTube fame? So what's going on? This other bee there was clearly mobbing this first bee. So you have to assume, I am assuming, that it was trying to get that insect off the wing of the other. If not, it's an amazing coincidence that I happen to see this one mobbing another insect, and when I get the picture back, it's got an insect on it, but actually it was nothing to do with it. Just didn't like the other insect. It's like... So you have to assume that it is trying to do something with this insect. How does that tally in the field of altruism, philosophically? If they are bees, there's this whole thing about this hive and the shared genes and things. If they're not bees, well then what's going on there? Do you see what I'm saying? So this seems like a simple question. There's a photograph, I want the insects and I want the behaviour explained to me. You know, I've done the best job that I can without knowing what the insects are, exactly what's going on, or whether it's known behaviour, whether I don't know. Yeah, I think that's probably the question. I'm so sorry for waffling. If you're still here now, you should probably get out more. How have you stayed this long for this? Because well, no, it is fascinating. No, the question itself is fascinating, but you didn't know that when you hung about to listen to all this. So that's quite interesting about YouTube itself, isn't it? I mean, I do understand that of however many people, I'd like to say thousands, but let's say 15, who actually clicked on this video in the first place. If one person has got this far, that's great. The chances of them being an entomologist who can answer my question is slim, I think. But if you can share this on entomology sites, I'm actually losing hope as I speak. If you can answer the question, that'd be great. The photograph is an interesting photograph. It tells a story, and I am quite interested as well in the whole aspect of research on these kind of platforms. It's just a question. There's no need. If you can write any comments about answering this thing, that's great. If you want to just write a comment on the bottom and say, "Oh my God, you boring person. Why did you bother us with it?" Well, you stayed this long, so it's not really my fault. Anything helpful would be great, and I will look at the comments. And I am genuinely interested in the answer to the question, as I am interested in the secondary aspects of what asking this sort of question means. I'm so sorry. I should have scripted and done a proper one, but if I'd have waited, I've already waited 8 years to ask this question. If I'd have waited to do a proper video, scripted it and cut out all the waffle, edited all the waffle out, that would have taken me a week. I'd have never got around to doing it, would I? So anyway, so if you are interested in guitar, brilliant. Subscribe. If you're interested in random questions, I'm full of them. You're not going to be interested in random questions. We might be, so subscribe. And if you're interested in photography, yes, I've been a wildlife photographer. That's great as well. So subscribe. I might do some of that. And philosophy, definitely. That was my academic career for quite a long time. Not really a career. I didn't earn any money from it. We wouldn't earn any money from it, would you? It's like being an Irish jazz musician. You don't do it for the money. Thank you.